Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Drop Jaw Flies fly tying tutorials. Yesterday we started this new series off tying the min pin streamer, a little bit of a smaller, probably actually the smallest in the Drop Jaw Flies line. When you tie this, it averages about 1.75 inches to about 2 inches long. Great little small profile to hunt those trout that are close to the shore. Now, the way that this got its name, min pin, is people were asking for a smaller version of the pinhead, so we called it the min pin. We started off with the min pin yesterday, so we're going to go ahead and do the pinhead today. The pinhead just gets you a little bit bigger profile, a little bit fatter head design. It's about 1/2 inch long and 5/16 tall, and it's 5/16 wide at the gills. So just another small middle profile that imitates those small little bait fish that you come across in the summer when they're close to the bank, rivers or lakes. Couple different variations. Of course, in fly tying you can do all kinds of different versions of with a particular head or style of fly. And with the pinhead, you know, no exception there. Single hook versions, all the way up to articulated versions of the pinhead, and these can be ordered in all different kinds of colors. So you decide if you want to order some that are a custom color to imitate some bait fish in your area. Order the pinheads and just put a note next to your order of, say, chartreuse or all black or whatever you want. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with this, the pinhead. We're going to tie a single hooked version today, and we're going to go ahead, we're going to use the Gamakatsu B10S in a number 1. Love these hooks, super strong, very sharp, reliable, and it just seems like the hook points on these last longer than a lot of other hooks. So go ahead and get that seated. And these two, the min pin and the pinhead, are meant to be simple versions to tie. Quick, easy. Anybody should be able to do this. Let's go ahead and get started. For most of my flies, I use the Ultra Thread in the 140. I love the stretch. It's easy to use. Well, we'll go ahead and get our thread on the hook. Just get warmed up here a little bit. Get some on there. Of course, I always like to use or to weight my flies a little bit, and I just like to have them break the surface quickly. Yesterday we tied the min pin hook point up. That would require that the weight goes on the bottom of the hook. Today, we're going to tie this with the weight on the bottom of the hook, so the hook point's going to be riding down. You're pretty safe if you put this weight close to the center of the hook shank. And just make sure that that is dead center. It's not too far out this way or too far out to the left or right, and we'll just make sure that we got that on there good. Now for this design, this particular pattern, I'm going to use Grizzly Saddle Hackle for a tail. There's all kinds. I don't use very expensive hackle for this, just because it's the tail section on a little streamer. But I'm going to take 2 sets of feathers and just kind of double them up. You could use marabou for this. You could use any kind of synthetic fibers, and I'm gonna, because these are pretty small, I'm gonna make them about the same length as the hook shank, which is just over 1 inch. And I'm gonna leave all the body of the feather on the hook shank just to build up a little more mass. So put that on where you want it. Make a couple loose wraps and then snug up, and then just chase your fingertips all the way back to the bend of the hook. And we want them to ride up just a little bit, so put a wrap or 2 up under the base of the feathers, and you'll see that they stick out straight. This fly is meant to be just to tie quick and easy. Don't worry about getting anything perfect. It's going to be kind of a glorified jig in all actuality. The next thing we're going to use for our body is, I love to use these little braids. And I'm going to use this little diamond braid in the pearl color for a body. You could use chenille. You could use a dubbing loop of various different dubbings. So whatever you have, again, just use what you've got. And wrap that to just the bend of the hook there. And then we're going to just start wrapping forward towards the eye of the hook. You can wrap over the previous wrap if you want to. I'm doing that a little bit here just to build the body up a little bit. When we get to the weight, it's going to look like a nice little belly for us. Closer up there, and we'll tie this off. Couple wraps in front. Cut that off. And now, if you have a rotary vise, it always helps to do this part right here. So I'm going to use the EP fiber in the Polar Bear. It's called Polar Bear. Love these fibers, these fine fibers for these little flies. They make a really nice translucent belly. So I'm going to pull out a little bit. It's not that much, just so you can see. You can use this to tie at least 3 or 4 flies. What I'm going to do here with that hook point, I'm just going to take this, move it right underneath, and I'm going to space it evenly. Make a loose wrap over the top. Come back up with the thread, do another wrap. And then I'm going to cut this about right there. And then take what's left and push it back over the top, overlay what you just laid down, and then tie that off so it lays back underneath the hook, just like that. Trim off any of the little excess fibers that are there, and you got a nice little belly. Now we're going to make this a tricolor pinhead. So we started off light, and we're going to make a I've got the same fibers here, but they're in olive, same EP fibers. This is just a golden olive color, and I've got enough here to do about 3 or 4 flies. I'm going to take this, put it right on top of where we were. Again, a loose wrap. If you try to go tight immediately, what you could do with the thread torque is take all of your material and wrap it on the other side. We don't want to do that. So do a loose wrap at first, and then gently snug that up. Take your long portion here and run it over the top of what you just did. Kind of move it over to the sides, get it evenly on both halves of the fly. And we'll tie that off. We'll cut it right here. Now, if I was going to use these feathers and run it the full length of the fly, of course I would leave those about an inch longer, the belly fibers and the intermediate fibers of the olive. But we're using this tail today, so you can kind of get a feel of tying with saddle hackles for tails. And then the top part, we're going to use some gray ripple ice fiber. You can get this from Hairline. These are awesome. Just a little bit stiffer fiber for the top of the fly. So get out however much you want to use. I'm gonna get enough to Make a nice back on this for me, on this fly, and then we're going to wrap it back over the top of itself just like we did. So a loose wrap, and then a snugging wrap, and then you're going to take this leftover portion and fold it back over itself right over the top. So of course, on all the minnows, they have a light belly, they have a dark back, and we'll run those a little bit longer right over the tail there, almost to the end. And then usually all minnows have a little lateral line, and today I'm going to put a little bit of UV in this one, and so we're going to use the Senyo's Barred Predator Wrap in the gray UV, and pull off about that much. And I'm going to take half of it on my side, put it right in between the gray and the olive fibers, tie that down, and then what we're going to do is swing this around and wrap it back right underneath the gray and in between the olive, just like that. And that gives us a little bit of a division from the top half of the fly down to the middle, just a little separation. It looks a lot more like a minnow. Next thing we're going to do, really, that we're done, is tie this fly off with our whip finisher. That'll basically finish it for us. And then all we have to do is glue this head on. And I'm going to use some Liquid Fusion glue. It's just very easy to work with. Get some on there. All the way around. And then lastly is we're just going to snug our head on. Make sure that you expose all of the hook eye. Push it all the way back until all the hook eye is exposed. And there we go. We've got our pinhead. When you get cranking on these, you should be able to tie it in about 3 to 5 minutes. A great little pattern for to imitate minnows that are 2.5, 3 inches long. You can add more weight if you want a more pronounced jigging action. Very easy to cast. Rivers and lakes, all different colors. The pinhead. Thanks for joining me. If you like this video, like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Remember, stick 'em solid.